Oh boy, hold on to your hats. A friend recently told me that their company has a new CEO and the dude forced a seating chart upon the directors for his first board meeting. I started laughing, thinking it was a joke. Then I realized, wait, you're serious? What? That ain't no freaking wedding? Today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Broc Romanek and I'm a big fan of yous. Obviously, my first reaction to this is how could the CEO take orchestration, micromanagement to a whole new level? I was just shaking my head. After some time passed on, though, my monkey mind drifted back to the notion that I recognize that when I go to meetings in the same room over and over, I definitely have a tendency to sit in the same spot, even when you're at liberty to move around. It's human nature just to pick the same seat over and over again. For example, when I go to the movie theater, I always like to go back and to the right. That's my spot. And then same thing when you had freedom of choice when you went to law school, when you went to college, you could sit wherever you want. You almost sit in the same section time and time again. You just do it subconsciously. Of course, you might want to sit in a certain spot, to sit near a friend, to sit near someone you admire. But there are plenty of times where it's not about talking to a particular person that's next to you. It's just where you're naturally drawn. And then I took my introspection one step further and decided to conduct some research. Maybe there's some method to the CEO's madness. After all, the CEO must have some sort of reason to want to do this, right? So it wasn't long into a Google search that I found this site where there indeed truly is a science of sitting. So I'm going to walk you through this guide that I found from Vanessa Van Edwards so that you can learn three things. One, how the type of table you sit at matters. Two, how the seating arrangement matters. And three, arranging the seating to match the occasion. So one, how the type of table you sit at matters. The type of table you use in the boardroom can actually change the behavior of the directors. In other words, the shape of the seating arrangement has a predictive impact on persuasion. Circle formations allow better eye contact and equality, while rectangular or square formations lead to more individualistic meetings that can be controlled by the power player. And so, circular tables make it easier for everyone to collaborate. Two, how the seating arrangement matters. So we all instinctively know that the person that sits at the head of the table, that's the power player. That's where the board chair or the CEO is going to typically sit. And then the people the directors, they would sit right next to the boss, usually are seen as those being supportive of the power player. They're in the flanking positions. So they can quietly communicate to the power player, unlike the others. It's just whisper over, get them back on track. So, and then of course, these flanking positions are also most likely to be heard by the boss if there's crosstalk, if all the directors are speaking up at the same time. Then there's the fact that the closer you are to someone physically, the closer you feel to them, you feel their energy, empathy. Okay, so we have the flanking positions, we have the power player, and then now we have the middles. They're in the middle of the table if it's a rectangular table, and they're going to get less eye contact, less floor time, simply because of the nature of the way the table is. This can be a good place to go if you want to be in stealth mode. If you have no choice and you have to sit in the middle, you're going to have to be prepared to speak up if you want to be heard. You might have to lean forward and raise your hand slightly to garner some eye contact and get the attention of whoever's calling on the person. And then we have the contender, the big contender. Stella, I could have been a contender. I don't think Marlon Brando's quote has Stella in it, but he did say, I could have been a contender. So if you're sitting opposite of the board chair of the CEO, whoever's in that power player position, you better have a lot to say because you're going to be facing off with them. You're going to feel more contrarian. So be keenly aware of this if you happen to wind up in that seat. Unless the table's so long that you could barely see them and they could barely see you. So if you have a lot to say or you're going to be making a presentation of sorts and you want to make an impact, take a leadership role for this particular meeting or in general, this seat is for you, the contender seat. So all these things so far that I've said, it make sense to me. That it's common sense, really. But here's where it really gets interesting. Should you sit to the right or to the left of the power player? Apparently, the science is clear on this, that if you want to be heard, you sit to the left of a power player. If you want to be unnoticed, you sit to the right. So I don't know what exactly the science is there. I mean, common sense bears that out a little bit for me, but that's apparently what a bunch of studies have said. 3, arranging the seatings to match the occasion. So rectangles are great for power plays, for competitiveness, And if you want collaboration, you want a circle. People are more engaged. Or actually, in my opinion, if you have no table at all, if you have no table at all, you use side tables so directors can have somewhere to put their things. That really gets you into the energy, into a mode where there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of discussion. If you move the chairs closer, if you're using a smaller table, even if it's rectangle, but everyone's closer, you can feel that energy. It's easier to hear and see people. So that really can make an impact too. You can really boost the energy levels of the directors and get them more engaged. Bonus tip. So this is not for the boardroom context, but in generally when you're sitting at a meeting, Vanessa says she always tries to get a chair facing the door, and she gets there early, and she gets to smile and greet people as they walk in. Particularly if it's the first time she's going to meet people, she can make a good first impression. This is really good stuff. So I wonder how all this stuff works on a Zoom call. Can you assign seats on the Zoom call? I don't think so. It's funny to think about. Anyway, give me your thoughts generally on this topic, because seating apparently matters.